Hey everyone, this is Erich Pratt from Gun Owners of America, and I want to thank you for watching. GOA is a national organization representing more than 2 million gun owners. We've worked very closely with VCDL through their entire existence, and let me just say, I am so grateful for the work that VCDL has done. Our gun rights would be in much worse shape if it were not for VCDL, for Philip Van Cleve, and the thousands of members who are active with VCDL. So if you're not a member of VCDL, please join them today. I'm a VCDL member. I'm proud to be part of such a great organization. I also suspect that a lot of you who are watching me right now are also GOA members. So I want to thank you for standing with the No Compromise gun lobby at the national level. Your support means the world to those of us at GOA. Now, if you were at the Lobby Day rally last January, wow, what an event that was. Tens of thousands of people showed up. When I spoke there last year, I could never have imagined all the battles that we were going to have to fight in 2020. A lot happened last year, and we were able to achieve a lot of victories together. So what I want to do is share some of those victories with you, because I sense that those of us in the gun community could use some encouragement right now, right? So I'm going to share some of those accomplishments that we were able to achieve because of our very active members. And then I'll end by laying out some of the challenges that we have at the national level, as well as the path to victory that we have, a path where we can defeat all gun control in the U.S. Congress. That might sound too good to be true, but it is true. So just hang on till the end, because I'm going to talk about that. Anyway, let me first start with a rundown of what we were able to accomplish with our members last year. 2020 was a year that, as you know, was like no other. I mean, because of COVID, can you remember another time when you could get arrested for opening your business, but not arrested for looting one? I mean, it was crazy. It's no wonder that gun sales broke records by the millions last year. There were over 20 million gun sales, and over 8 million of them were new gun buyers. Heck, some of you who are watching right now may be part of that group, and if that's the case, I want to welcome you to the Second Amendment community. But last year saw rioting, mayhem, cities on fire. What a year it was for needing the Second Amendment. But not to worry though, right? CNN assured us that all those riots last year were mostly peaceful, right? You know, the media, the liberal media, couldn't report the truth if it was staring them in the face. But thankfully, most people can see through their bias, and that's why I know you're a gun owner, and that's why you're participating in this year's Lobby Day with VCDL. Well, we're going to be in for the fight of our lives this year, and so I need you to make sure you're getting all the latest news. If you're not getting GOA's free email alerts, please sign up for them right now. Go to the link that you see on the screen and sign up right away. All right. Let me first recap some of our major victories from last year. Then I'll give you your marching orders and show how we can defeat gun control at the national level this year. So last year, even with a divided Congress, we were fighting hard to stop the spread of gun control across the country. For example, when Nancy Pelosi tried to sneak gun control into a COVID relief bill, GOA generated 1 million messages and phone calls into the Congress to stop her. But that's not all. We also took the fight into the states because governors and mayors were trying to use this pandemic to shut down gun stores and ranges. So from coast to coast, we were working to stop this. And we had notable victories in many states like North Carolina, Massachusetts, Maryland, and Virginia. But perhaps our most comical victory was in Durham, North Carolina, where the mayor had ordered gun stores closed. We sent a legal cease and desist letter, which prompted the anti-gun mayor to immediately reverse course. So that was a victory, but not without a big whining session on his part. The mayor took to the local media and just howled about why he had to put up the white flag. Listen to what he said. Our lawyers said we couldn't win. They said we were going to have to pay the legal fees for Gun Owners of America. And that's why we made the decision to reopen gun stores, which is, you know, awful. Gun stores are damaging. It's terrible to be forced into this position. You can just hear this snowflake fighting back the tears, right? But this was just one of the many great victories from around the country where we forced anti-gun politicians to open up gun stores and ranges. We also persuaded sheriffs to resume the process of issuing concealed carry permits. In Pennsylvania, GOA activists absolutely deluged their sheriffs. One even said, wow, we got a lot of blowback from residents of his county. And so guess what? He and other sheriffs started reissuing permits. You see, that's the power of the grassroots. In June, we helped push 4 fantastic pro-gun bills into law in Louisiana. The first 3 dealt with church carry, firearms preemption, and constitutional carry during a declared emergency. The final one prevents anti-gun politicians from banning or regulating firearms during an emergency or a disaster or a pandemic like we had last year. This last one was especially exciting because it was introduced specifically because of the activism of GOA's grassroots. The sponsor of the bill heard from GOA members, he introduced the bill, and we worked with him in pushing it through the legislature. Then we worked to rally the grassroots to encourage the governor to sign the bill, which he did along with the other 3 bills. So there you had a Democrat governor signing 4 pro-gun bills into law. That's the power of the grassroots. So there were a lot of good things that happened around the country last year, and I should mention that we even helped a couple of states to reject red flag laws. Oklahoma enacted the first in the nation law to actually prohibit red flag laws. This was a GOA-backed bill, and it prevents gun confiscation orders from being used at any level of government in Oklahoma. And in New Hampshire, Governor Chris Sununu listened to gun owners when he vetoed 2 red flag bills that were sent to him by the legislature. So that's great news, right? That's the power of the grassroots. Anyway, as I've mentioned before, GOA and VCDL work very closely together, and I know that a lot of you have been following our bump stock case. As I record this video, GOA and VCDL are still awaiting a decision by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 6th Circuit. So our efforts to block this ban are still alive. GOA also has some other cases going on. We won a historic case in Virginia by getting universal background checks struck down for young adults. This was truly historic. No Virginia state court had ever before issued a temporary injunction to block an act of the General Assembly before its effective date. But GOA and VCDL accomplished that together. So now let me bring you up to speed with the big battle that we have in front of us this year in the U.S. Congress. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, as you know, they want to ban guns, including your AR-15s. They want to register them. They want to ban guns that don't have smart gun technology. I call them dumb guns. But they have a whole laundry list of infringements that they want to impose upon you. And given the fact that they have total Democrat control in Washington, there's the very real concern that they can simply ram through any restriction they want. But here's an important truth. This isn't our first rodeo. In 2013, the New York Times credited GOA with killing all of President Obama's gun control agenda. And you know how we did it? We did it by activating our grassroots on the one hand, but we also worked with senators to use the filibuster. In some cases, we had to lead them by the hand, but we were able to use the filibuster to kill every bit of gun control in 2013. You see, when Chuck Schumer wants to pass new gun control restrictions this year, the filibuster forces him to get more than just a majority. He has to get 60% of the Senate. That's a much higher threshold. So it's no wonder that Democrats are threatening now to nix the filibuster. They realize that the filibuster is what stands in their way from ramming through their leftist anti-gun agenda. And to make sure that everything they do is ruled legal, Anti-gun Democrats, they're threatening to pack the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, this is where the GOA members and activists come in. It's called grassroots pressure. In November of last year, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia promised publicly on Fox News that he would not vote to end the filibuster. So last Monday, we put out an alert into his state and generated thousands upon thousands of emails and phone calls into his office. Everyone telling him to stick to his promise. Support the filibuster, support the filibuster. Well, guess what? The very next day, this is last Tuesday, he went on Fox News to discuss upcoming legislation. And you know that Chuck Schumer is putting pressure on him. You know he's telling Manchin that he needs to support the party. He needs to end the filibuster so Democrats can get their anti-gun agenda rammed through Congress. But guess what? After having heard from thousands of his constituents, he reiterated his promise. He promised again he will not vote to end the filibuster. You see, that's the power of the grassroots. This is how we can defeat every gun control bill that Chuck Schumer throws at us. We did it in 2013. We can do it again in 2021. Now, you may be thinking, this is not the best strategy, relying on a moderate Democrat to keep his word. Hey, I agree. This is not a position which makes us comfortable. I mean, that's why we spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to win the 2 Georgia Senate races. We came close, but we lost. So this is now our backup option. It is our best option right now for killing gun control. I mean, if you have a better idea, let us know. But this is it, and we need your help. So please click on the link below so that you can take action. Hey, you're next door, you're here in Virginia, next door to West Virginia. It won't hurt for you to chime in as well. Give them a call, send them an email, contact Senator Manchin. Tell him to keep his promise to maintain the filibuster. If you go to our website using the link, we give you the pre-written language to send. You only need to press a button and off your letter goes to him. So that's the legislative report from the national level at this point. I hope you will join GOA and become one of our active members who are dedicated to stopping gun control. Look, I'm sure that the Second Amendment is important to you, or else you wouldn't be part of this lobby day, or you wouldn't be watching this video. But to be sure, it's very personal for me. My dad bought his first gun in the 1960s when there were riots taking place all over the country. He heard a police chief on the radio say that if the rioters started moving into the suburbs, the police wouldn't be able to contain them. So he bought a gun. And as a little guy, I remember being in the gun shop when he bought his firearm. The same year he did that, my mom took me back to her home country in Central America so she could work in my great uncle's campaign for president. He actually won the election and became the president, but just for a few days. A military coup hijacked the government, leaving several dictators to govern that nation for the next 20-some years. You see, that's what can happen when the government has most of the guns. That's why we have a Second Amendment in this country. Not only so we can protect our families against criminals breaking into our homes, and so we can protect ourselves against rioters, but also, yes, so we can protect ourselves against a tyrannical government. And because firearms are to be a check against a bad, dangerous government, it makes no sense to think that politicians should be the ones to define our rights. Our rights are not given to us by the government. If that were the case, then our rights would be mere privileges. No, our founders said in the Declaration of Independence that everyone is endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. You hear that? Our rights are given to us by God, and that's what makes our rights unalienable. It's a hard word to say, but it has an important meaning. It means that our rights can't be revoked or diminished in any way. That's why the Second Amendment says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. At GOA, that's how we defend this important right. We don't tolerate any infringements. Background checks, gun bans, licenses and fees, NFA restrictions, they are all infringements, right? Look, if you agree with me and you're listening to this in your car right now, there on the streets of Richmond, you can honk your horn in agreement. We will not compromise shall not be infringed is what we're going to live by. Okay, well, let me just end by reminding everyone how important this year's elections are. You know, this is an election year here in Virginia, right? So I want a commitment from everyone who's watching that you will get your pro-gun family and friends to the polls this November. Do you have children who are of voting age? Make sure they're registered and vote absentee if they're away at school. Do you know any of the Virginians who became gun owners for the first time last year? Let them know how critical this year's elections are to protecting their new firearm. Look, we are all in this together, fighting to maintain our liberties, so don't let up. We have a lot of work to do before the November elections. Again, I want to thank you for watching and being here today. Don't forget to sign up with VCDL. And I'd love for you to join and become a GOA member too if you're not already. Just click on the link on the screen. And while you're on our site, make sure that you sign up for our free email alerts as well. They're free, they're low volume. We don't give our information away, but boy is it important, because this is how we kill gun control. It's activating the grassroots. Well, that's it for now. I want to thank you for watching, everybody, and thank you for your support of the Second Amendment.